Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in into another edition of Tuesday Morning Shenanigans. I am Aaron of the Rave Corner and I am reporting from a different location. In a previous video, I sat down with Ryan of Hawaii Trendsetters inside Maui Comics and Collectibles as he discussed the relevance and differences between Captain America's Civil War in both the movie and comic versions. The first part had to be cut short, but now everything wraps up into this video and he provides his overall opinion of the movie. Enjoy part 2 of CACW Review.
Oh, go.
So, like, in the books, there is no ultimate villain, right? In the books, there's no ultimate villain. Simply, it's just a disagreement between the superheroes about the Superhuman Registration Act.
Right, right.
Captain being the figurehead of the anti-registration faction, and Iron Man being forced into being the opposite, which is the pro-registration act. In the books, he is actually guilted by Miriam Sharp, who lost her child in the Stanford elementary bombing. So he feels like, because she blames him, she actually to his face blamed him for what happened.
Even though he wasn't there.
It wasn't even his fault at all. Like, it wasn't even there. But she blames him in there. Like, you're responsible. You fund the Avengers. You tell children that it's okay to dress up in costume and fight crime. So they should leave it to the professionals. Which, at the time, the Avengers were the professional team, and the New Warriors, hence the word "new," We're a rookie team taking on heavy hitter villains. So in the movie, there's actually Disney actually introduced a villain, a very long time villain in the comic books by the name of Hamid Zemo, aka Baron Zemo. Zemo lost his family during the fight in Sokovia in the Avengers Age of Ultron movie. So he wanted to seek revenge, but seeing that he's just a normal guy, he could, and seeing that even more powerful villains couldn't even take down the Avengers, he knew that he couldn't take on the Avengers head on.
Right.
So he actually devised a plan to tear the team apart from the inside, and which he actually reveals at the end of the movie. Cap shares the same views that he did in the books. Tony again was guilted by Miriam in the movie, and she also said, like, it's your fault. And she actually loses her son in the Sokovia incident as well. So, like, he was actually like he wanted to travel and do backpacking and all that kind of stuff, which led to his death in Sokovia. And that's how the superhuman registration came to be in that version of the movie.
Right.
So same thing. But the funny thing is, the way it happened is throughout the movie, Zemo is in search of a tape that was shown in the beginning of the movie of Tony's parents in a car crash, and also being murdered by the Winter Soldier. And when they viewed the tape towards the end of the movie, Tony Stark, basically, that's what triggers the fight between Captain America and the Winter Soldier against Iron Man at the end of the movie.
Right.
Because it was the Winter Soldier that was, the reason why his parents died. So that was the whole thing. The difference between the movie is that and the books is the books didn't have a villain, where actually the books made Tony Stark out to look like a villain.
Since he recruited villains to
fill in
his squad.
And that's another thing, what Aaron just brought up is that in the books, Iron Man actually, after losing a lot of the superheroes because of the death of Goliath, he ends up hiring a bunch of super villains, and they codename them the Thunderbolts. So yes, that also happened.
Yeah.
But in the movie, there was an actual villain, and it was Zemo. Zemo was the villain, and he dictated everything that happened in that movie. And so that brings us to the conclusion of the movie. Where in the books, let me start off with the books. In the books, after Cap and his team goes to rescue and release their incarcerated friends from the prison that was within the negative zone, and that's another thing. The negative zone actually played a big role in the books, but since the Fantastic Four, Fox has the rights to Fantastic Four, they couldn't use that in the movie. So they were actually incarcerated in the negative zone. All the heroes that were anti-registration got caught and were imprisoned in the negative zone. Shield attempted to shut the portal to the negative zone, but Cloak actually teleports the fight out into the streets of New York near the Baxter Building. As the fight draws to an end and causing all this damage in the streets, Captain America goes to give his finishing blow to Iron Man.
Yeah, because at that point, Iron Man was about to be beaten.
Yeah, he was about to get beaten out. Their team was basically,
Winning.
Right. Cap was about to give the finishing blow to Iron Man, but a handful of civilians actually tackles Captain America and tries to bring him back to his senses. When Captain America finally looks around, he realizes that they were no longer fighting for the Human Registration Act. That wasn't even the dispute anymore. They were basically just fighting just to fight.
Yeah.
Now that's how he viewed it. So what happens is Cap surrenders. He gets arrested. Tony Stark actually gets made the director of Shield. After all of that, the funny thing is Shield actually was helping throughout the books in the story.
Yeah.
Shield was actually helping Tony with everything. They were actually on Tony's side. They were actually on the registration side, pro registration side. He gets actually nominated, he becomes the director of Shield. Although all those that wanted to continue doing what they were doing the old way and didn't want to sign up, they either moved to Canada to continue doing what they were doing because the Registration Act was only for the
United States.
Yeah, the United States. And all the other ones that stayed in the U.S. that didn't sign up went underground and did things illegally. And the ones that did sign up were actually, they were placed in the designated area, because they were actually put into different states. They were put a part of a superhero team that were placed in each state of the United States.
Right.
To be the official superhero team of that state. And that's how the book ends. In the movie, the final fight was Captain America and Bucky against Iron Man. So it wasn't a huge team versus team. It was basically just Cap and Bucky fighting Iron Man, which essentially ended with, again, Captain America striking, but he actually did hit Iron Man. He struck the chest plate of Iron Man, shutting down Iron Man's suit, and then which essentially ends the fight. Iron Man goes back to the Avengers compound and to recuperate and stuff like that, and try to make things go back to normal. And Captain America actually goes to free all those that were arrested, that were taking his side, from this secret base or prison that was in the middle of the ocean, that was submerged in the ocean. That was actually being monitored by Thunderbolt Ross, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, who is Betty Ross's dad. So also there's a mid-credit scene where Captain America actually brings Bucky to Wakanda to try in hopes of trying to undo everything that Hydra did to Bucky that made him the mindless assassin that he was in the movies. Because they revealed in the movie that they had like a like these what you call a chain of words that they use to program Bucky to do their bidding, basically, is what happened. And he ends up getting put back while they're in Wakanda. He gets put back on ice in cryostasis till they can figure it out. And then that's pretty much what the conclusion of the movie right there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that was pretty much the conclusion of the movie. So, like I brought up earlier, they were actually all the heroes were actually imprisoned in the negative zone, whereas in the movie they were imprisoned in this this underwater base that was hidden in the middle of the ocean and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all. That was the link between the books and the movie.
So you're saying that the different take of the negative zone is this underground, this underwater prison.
Yes.
Not an alternative dimension.
No, not an alternative dimension. No, not at all. But it worked. I mean, you know.
Were they watched by the Shield, or just guarded by sharks?
No. It was actually under the U.S. government.
Okay.
Yeah. And General Ross is no longer General Ross. He's actually Defense Secretary Ross in the movie. And that's another thing too. That was a funny thing because it was kind of an Easter egg, Ross being there, because for one, he played no part in the series, in the books, and he had no reason to be there in the movies, which is really interesting to me because that's when they introduced Baron Zemo is in the movie. So there's General Ross in the movies, there's Baron Zemo in the movies. There's actually a book that was really recently released called The Thunderbolts, who is actually led by Bucky, who was also in the movies. And it would be really interesting, and it's just a theory, and it's actually high hopes, but I would love to see a Thunderbolts movie, because that's how the Thunderbolts start, is because of those key characters.
I think it's
like
possible if Disney actually cleared the playing field and revised their schedule,
right.
Then yeah, I'd say it's probably in the works.
Right. Yeah. In fact, the owner of Maui Comics, where we're filming right now,
yeah.
even he was like, we were talking about that and kind of.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the movie, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate it?
It was a 10. It was definitely a 10. It's become my favorite Marvel movie.
Alright, so that's about it. Thank you for checking out the video. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
So this wraps up CACW review. I hope you'd enjoyed it. Come back next week Tuesday as a new episode of Tuesday Morning Shenanigans will be uploaded on YouTube. Big thanks to Alika of Maui Comics and Collectibles. Follow them on social media, on Facebook and Instagram at Maui Comics. And if you like what you see and would love to see more episodes of Tuesday Morning Shenanigans into the future, feel free to subscribe, like, or leave a comment in the comments section below. Until then, thank you for checking out the video.